Well, hello, and my name is Shane Knight, and welcome to Real Insights by Purple Carrot, where we take a deep dive with industry leaders and find out what life is really like under the hood across the different sectors. And today we are talking all things professional services and consulting with Talal Ghattas. Talal is a skilled business advisor providing economic, commercial and strategic advice to federal, state and local governments, as well as the private sector, advising on numerous infrastructure initiatives and precinct shaping projects, and no doubt we'll talk about that a little bit later. Talal is not only a leading business advisor, he's also a mentor to many students in Sydney Southwest, supporting them on life and career advice. So Talal, welcome, mate.
Thank you, Shane. It's a pleasure to be here today.
I guess, look, before we get into what we're really after, one thing I am really keen to know is, and I've spoken to you briefly before about this, is I'm fascinated to understand more about why you mentor, why you're going back to mentoring young students on a range of topics.
Yeah, look, it's for me, it's just a way to give back to the community that I came from. I grew up in Western Sydney, probably didn't have the leg up that others did, so I sort of came from a first generation Australian working class, and I thought that would start to wash away as I grew up. But as I grew up, I realised there's actually a lot of younger kids coming through who are still first generation Australians and probably went through some of the challenges that I did when I wanted to go to school, when I wanted to advance my sort of academic learning, when I wanted to get a job. So it's a way to, once you get somewhere, you probably want to reach back and see who you can help pull through as well.
You mentioned just challenges just then. What are some of the challenges that you faced, I guess, going from school?
Look, I think it's even before that. I mean, I went to primary school speaking Arabic, so.
Oh, right. Okay.
You turn up day one. You come from a family who's always spoken Arabic at home. English was never our first language, so you rock up day one, and
what are they talking about?
Well, you don't know the language, so everyone's speaking English, and you're there speaking Arabic. So that's probably where the challenges started.
Right.
So there wasn't really that passion, that drive, or that understanding around the importance of being able to speak a language that others spoke and how to communicate to people.
So fast forward, you've gone from not speaking English at all to now advising, departments of federal government, state government, local government.
Yep.
I mean, take us through. How did that come about?
It's been a long journey, I think, but it's been one where there's obviously been a lot of pressures that education was always something that was important. And there's different models of education and there's different things to study, but the one thing that was always important was how you communicated. And communication for us came through learning English. I never enjoyed English, even at high school. I purposely didn't do well in sort of the advanced English units because I wanted to be back in the standard units, which is one thing I look back on and thought, okay, that was pretty stupid of me. But as I got through and got surrounded myself with good people, good mentors, I started to realise it's important to know language, it's important to express yourself and how you communicate, and also coming from a non-English speaking background, you don't want to be disadvantaged by not knowing words or not knowing how to string a sentence together.
So, I mean, you're pretty big in, I guess, in the advisory world now, and you've worked previously with Deloitte and other organisations like that. How did you get into, I guess, working for those organisations?
I think parts of it might be luck, but I think a large part is you create your own luck. I went to university. When I first went, I did engineering in my first year and I didn't enjoy it. So I did one economics class in my engineering year and I thought, okay, I'm onto something here.
Yeah, right.
So I transitioned over, did an economics degree. During my economics degree, I was working with a bank. I kept building my skills around working with people, talking to people. And then from there, I saw an opportunity to apply for a job with state government. So I was back with, it was the RTA, the Roads and Traffic Authority, which is now the RMS. And I was a successful candidate in applying for a graduate position there. And that just started to open some doors for me. And then through the progression of hard work, identifying early that I needed mentors. I had my first mentor when I was at the RTA, my first official one. They brought out a mentoring program where they would buddy you up with senior professionals in the organisation, and I took up that opportunity, and I just haven't looked back from it.
So professional services consulting, for a lot of people, what is it?
It's a tricky one. It's probably hard to pinpoint what it is, but in its nature is that you're basically selling advice to people. So people either have a complex project where they need some advice, they need some challenges, they need people to bring in a level of critical thinking they don't have. Also, they might need some economic advice around it. I do have a bachelor's in economics and I majored in finance and banking, so you bring different advice to a project to help them make an informed decision. And in a nutshell, I'd say that's what you're selling. You're selling the ability to give an outside perspective to a project and inform a client or a customer on what decision do they make. Do they invest in a project? Do they find alternative projects to invest in? Do they pursue an organisational restructure? Those types of decisions.
So I guess what is your, because whether you like it or not, you're an entrepreneur in some respects now because you've gone out on your own.
Unofficially.
With Novo Consulting. And I mean, what does your day-to-day look like? Because, we often talk about when you finish school or university, a lot of people have this vision that they're at the top already.
Mm.
And one of the things that we're even trying to do with this Real Insights is give an inside perspective of the journey to get to even where you are now. So what is it now? What does your day-to-day look like?
I think before I get into that, I probably want to touch on that whole perspective of being on the top.
Yeah, for sure.
I think, and it's just a thought, but when you think you're on the top, you're probably not. You're probably at the start of the next level. And it's really important to have that mindset, I think. You can't finish high school and say, yeah, I've done it. No, finishing high school is you've finished a point in time, but the finish also signals a start for something else. And you really have to have that progressive mindset that I've finished something, but at the same time as I finish, celebrate your wins or your finishes, but remember you've started something, and that the start of that something can actually be a progression or a regression. And it just depends on what you actually think you want to do once you finish. So I mean, to simplify it, just never take your foot off the accelerator.
Oh, I love that. Well done. So you've basically touched on a hell of a lot, in terms of going through the pathways and things like that. But take us through, you've gone through your journey.
Yep.
What does your day-to-day look like now?
Yep.
At your own consulting company?
Yeah, mate, day to day, it's it starts really early in the morning. It starts at about 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning, and that's for me to have some time to myself. I either go to the gym or do something that just doesn't involve other people. A large part of professional services is you are always surrounded by people or talking to people. So for me, it's important to find some time to recharge or do something that just disconnects me a bit from the world. So you start your day, you go to the gym. It's a great start. You get to watch a sunrise on the way home. And then have some breakfast, and then work probably starts about 7 o'clock in the morning, just starting to go through some emails, just planning my day, understanding where I need to be. When you sort of do the work I do, you could be in Western Sydney one day and Melbourne the next, so you just want to make sure you know where you're going. And then the first couple of hours of the day is just making sure that everything's set, respond to any urgent emails, understand if I've got any important milestones or reports I need to have due that day. I usually take a lot of phone calls on my way to work as well. So just touch base with some clients or friends, just depends how you feel. Sometimes you just switch everything off and just have a quiet drive to work. And then once I'm in, once the laptop's up and running, it's usually getting to emails, checking in with clients again, working through any reports that I have to do, pull together presentations. But this week's been a bit different. I've spent a lot of time interviewing candidates for one of my clients, so it's been 3-4 hours. Yeah, it's a very different experience. Unfortunately, it's one that doesn't give you more time in the day. So you spend 3 or 4 hours during the day doing interviews, but you need to catch up on what you need to do after work. So once the clock stops at 5, it doesn't really stop for us. You're still going through the emails, checking in again with clients. So, typical day is really phone calls early, emails early, client meetings throughout the day. Do a lot of my face-to-face between the 9 to 5 block, and then after is catching up, and then I was.
So when do you do your project work?
Well, you're meant to do it during the day. Realistically, you do it at night. So I try to get home, switch things off by 6:37, but have some dinner, and then just if there's anything I need to do project-wise, I catch up.
Sure.
But also I try to block days out where if there's important deadlines or if I need to do project-focused work, I'll block out 3-4 hours of a day and just focus on that.
So when you're talking to clients, without getting detailed because you obviously can't, what are some of those things that you're talking about? Like, I know you work on a range of projects, but if you're advising, say, for a new precinct, like what are some of those things that you're considering in your line of work?
When it comes to some of the precinct planning work we do, it's about clients always want to have certainty. So they'll always ask you questions, and you always have to advise on when things are happening, where you're up to in the process. Just are we slipping on any milestones? Are we slipping on any dates? They also want to know when they're up for significant payments. Cash flow is important to any business. It doesn't matter who you are, even if you're an individual. Cash flow is important. So it's basically broad brush advice around the project, where it's up to, where it's heading, what are the next steps are, any major milestones in terms of approvals that are coming up. And that's the type of advice that for that project or that type of project plan would give.
So I guess if in your sector, particularly when it's come to consultancy, it's really broad. Where could you go from here? Where could someone with your skill set, what other industries could they go into? Because they might, you mentioned before when you studied, you studied and you didn't quite like it.
Yep.
And so you pivoted and went into economics. So take yours right now, you're in strategy, you're in consulting, you don't like it, where else can you go?
To be honest, Shane, I think if you have the right mindset and the right attitude, you can go anywhere. Consulting, and one of my mentors used to always phrase this to me, what you do in work and what you do day to day is probably based around 3 things. It's knowledge, experience and skills. Knowledge is what you get by going to the universities, by going to school. Skills are obtained on the job, but also you develop your skills by wanting to further explore, if it's improving communication skills, interpersonal skills, time management skills, but that's basically building your toolbox. And then the experience part is what you get on the job. So I always try to find the opportunities to do jobs. So when you package that together, you can really, with the right attitude, you can go anywhere. Communication skills are transferable across almost any business or industry. When it comes to part of the work we do, we also analyse data sets. Data is important now for any business, any industry, or any project you want to do. It really does inform. Time management takes you anywhere as well. If you can manage yourself, you can manage your diary. So really it's about, for me anyway, but it's about finding your skills and trying to apply them to something that you're probably a bit passionate about.
Sure.
It might be a cliche answer, but you can really, if you have the right skills, you can take them anywhere you want.
Yeah, but I think
apart from being a doctor.
Yeah, well, that's sort of where where I was getting at is you work in predominantly a lot, say, like a building sort of work, and then working with a lot of councils. If I looked at what I do, where could I pivot off to? And some of it could be, looking to sponsorships or sales and things like that. So I guess whatever you do, it's fair to say though, you're not stranglehold, in that one sector. You've built skills and experience and learnings that can be transferable to go elsewhere, and you're not stuck.
Well, that's exactly it. And again, I always position it around a good work ethic and a good attitude. I started my career with roads and sort of a transport focus around infrastructure. And when I made the decision to move out of the public sector into the private sector and work for Deloitte, that was a decision based on, there's an opportunity to move into a big 4 consultancy firm in the space of transport, but also that opened up opportunities to work on other major infrastructure projects in different industries. So you don't limit yourself, and find, even if it's one skill that you think you can pivot off, just take that skill and run hard with it. In the case of your example, you're a leader for business, you've got great communication skills, there's always someone or a business out there that's looking for that type of talent to bring into their business. So don't necessarily pigeonhole yourself for thinking that because I've always done whatever I do, it's always going to be what I do in the future. It's never the case.
Yeah, it's a real mindset shift, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've just got to sort of open your, I guess, be open to change.
Yep.
If you don't feel comfortable, you have a choice to make it
You do.
right?
Yep.
And so, you know, if you stay in the same role, that's your choice. You know, that's what you do. Take me through some education. Like, if you're hiring tomorrow for your company, what education are you looking for?
It's a really good question. For me, for me, it's important to have someone that's got an understanding of sound business practices. But also, with some of the work I do, it's also important for people to have an understanding of numbers or public policy. I look for people that are, I don't want to sort of limit who I look for, but from an educational perspective, it's probably someone who's got a tertiary degree in either in economics, business, something in public policy, because those types of degrees for me round individuals out. They balance the ability to understand data sets, understand numbers, but also be able to write and interpret what some of the numbers are telling you. And particularly with some of the business degrees now, you can actually, they teach you how to sell what you're doing. If I had a large data set and I analysed it, data sets are boring, and the data and the information they tell you is boring. So it teaches you how to interpret that into insights and make it more relatable to the person that you're selling to. And that's
where the excitement comes out, right?
It is.
Into the insights.
It is. It's the insights. What's the data telling me? What can I do with it? And what? We always sort of position ourselves around what do we want to do in life. Well, data sort of tells you what can you solve in life, and without sort of digging into data and understanding what's happening around you, you can't identify the problems. And if you can't identify problems, there's no solutions. And a lot of the work we do is about providing solutions. So we love problems.
So I guess, in terms of that education and what you do, how do you rate education versus experience? And where I'm getting at is, if you had to hire the person tomorrow, and I asked this just before with someone else, is if you had two people in front of you, one with a degree of, that you think's really great, but a little bit of experience or equal amount of experience, and then someone there with, good experience, set no degree, who do you favour? What do you look for?
Look, I never want to sort of mislead people. I think a genuine answer would be if it's a junior role, and I think you can't apply this answer across just general hiring. I think if it's a junior role, 9 times out of 10, juniors might not have the experience. So if it's a junior person, I'd say I'd probably go for the one that's got the academics behind it, because academics is not just about I went to university and I studied. It shows a level of discipline that someone actually took themselves for 3 or 4 years to a place to obtain a certificate or to do something to further their learning. If it's a more mature role, I'd go the experience, because on-job experience is invaluable.
I think that's a really good answer, because sometimes it's not all one size fits all. And I think that response will give a lot of the listeners probably good insight.
Yeah.
Because you always hear, and you read this in a lot of job descriptions as well, must have certain experience. Now, some are junior roles. So how do you get that experience? If you're not able to go out there and get it. I mean, one way I'm interested to know is, through internships or things like that. What do you use?
Look, I think our listeners have to be careful, because a lot of people lie on their resumes and they lie about job applications. Being someone who's just gone through and interviewed a whole heap of people for one of my clients, you do get caught out, and even if you get through and get the job, your life will be very difficult once you get the job. So I think firstly, never lie about what you have to offer and what experiences you have. It's always good to be upfront, transparent and honest at the start.
In your sector, I guess right now, like what are the future prospects like? Where are we going to sit? You know, what does the future hold for this whole consultancy space, particularly in where you are?
Look, like any industry at the moment, we're probably facing this challenge of the fourth, digital revolution. Everything's becoming automated. There's a big fear that AI could take over, but for me, whilst AI will take over parts of our industry like any other, you still need that human touch to what we do. And I see it through clients, and I see it just through the simplest examples that even till today, with all the technology we have, the videos, the video conferencing systems and everything, whenever I ask a client, would you rather do a teleconference or face-to-face, they still say face-to-face. So we're going to be challenged by the whole digital AI. Parts of our jobs will be automated, but I think if you focus on the skills and you focus and you're passionate about what you do, they can never automate communication skills of a human. They can never automate interpersonal skills. They can't automate how you present. So we will be challenged by it, but I think through any sector, if you have sort of a unique touch to it, you take that automation and you'll add it to your business and it'll actually bolster your offering.
So for a lot of those young ones, I guess, coming through, and as you said, freaking out about the future and, we don't have any experience in AI and all that. How do you overcome those challenges? Like, what would be your advice to a lot of those people to overcome those fears?
Well, I think, firstly about fears, mate, we've all got fears. Anyone who doesn't is borderline probably crazy. No one knows what holds us for tomorrow. No one holds, I don't even know what my next year looks like. So I think fear is a good thing to have, because if you harness fears right, it actually becomes motivation. Motivation to prove to yourself that I can do it. But for the young ones coming through, how do you sort of tackle that fear? Mate, get your hands dirty, roll your sleeves up. If it's about AI, if it's about digital, if it's about, do you want to get into the whole app development software industries, there's a heap of courses online that are actually for free. So you don't have to meet someone or see someone. So that starts to peel back the layer of fear that I don't put myself in an exposed environment. There's always this theory about, practice in private, just keep doing it in private. You don't actually need to go out there day one and show to the world that you're the world's best software developer or app developer or the best professional advisor. Do that at home, do it somewhere you're comfortable, find short courses, even through high school programs now are really encouraging the whole STEM aspect. Do it through there. So I think the one way you're going to overcome your fears is if you face them.
No, I think that's pretty sound advice. And I think one of the challenges is, we speak about networking, but that is a fear for a lot of people, to get out there and meet new people, and the fear of rejection and things like that. But do you know what? If you don't go out there, you've sort of you've been rejected anyway, because you haven't had a crack, and you'll never know. How do you value networking? And I guess the second part to that question is, do you do it yourself, and how valuable can it be?
Look, do I do it myself? Yes. I mean, let's not just pigeonhole networking to just going to a networking event. Networking's, it's almost
anything, everything.
Any conversation you have with someone, you're networking with that person. I think where people's misconceptions are is that they are networking and they expect themselves to be given the $500,000 job the minute they meet each other.
Yeah, or there has to be an outcome to it, really.
Exactly, and it's not instantaneous. And a lot of the networking events I go to, these are big events and people are meeting a lot of people. And at the end of it, people actually pick out who the genuine ones are. And you don't see the genuine one really when you're in the room. It's about, when I leave, who do I hear from a week after, 2 weeks after, a month after. So you can't just go in with the frame of mind that networking is, I go to a lunch and I expect Shane to give me a job.
Yeah, it's And I think the further frustrating thing is you go there and you pull out about 35 business cards. Now, the only reason I hand out that many business cards is because you always buy a pack of 1,000 and you can never give that away. But I mean,
they look cool.
As you said, like it's hard to. I find those things quite intimidating. I find the smaller meetings, more intimate ones, actually easier because. But also, you've got to be a lot more switched on. You've got to be prepared to have that conversation because it is smaller, more intense. I think, when we're speaking to a lot of people, it's networking is important because, and I use that, as a whole. There's different ways to do it, but networking is so valuable because it sort of gives you a bit of an insight into someone to progress, moving forward. So I think, what would your advice be to someone who doesn't like actually speaking to people and getting out there? Like, what do you say to them?
Well, I think, we don't want to disadvantage anyone here, but some of the best leaders in the world are probably introverts, and they're people that don't really like being around people or talking to people. The one thing you do if you don't like talking to people, find groups that you're comfortable in. Find places where you'd go that you'd probably be surrounded by people that are similar to you, so you have a level of comfort, so you can start breaking the barriers.
Sure.
And it's one of these things, mate. It's just repetition. Keep doing it, even if it's difficult. It's like presenting to large audiences. You're never going to get up there the first time and nail it, but maybe by the 100th time or the 1000th time, you're going to be a gun at it. But you can't, like I keep saying, it's back to my previous example about going to a networking event expecting a job. You can't go to one networking event and expect that you've got the whole networking process down pat. There's also other ways to network as well. We're in a very sort of connected world. It's a digital world. Even I do it myself. If you are interested in someone, if you meet someone at an event but you don't get a business card, mate, jump on LinkedIn, send them a message. Google their name, you'll probably find their email address. Send them an email.
It's pretty easy these days.
It is very easy these days. I've been fortunate. I've met about 2 or 3 of my mentors who are close to me now just by dropping a note on LinkedIn. And you'll be blown away by the people out there that seem unapproachable, whether they're CEOs or sports superstars. The minute you ask them, hey, you came for a coffee to catch up and you just want some advice or some insight to your life and what you've been doing, 9 times out of 10 they'll actually say yes, let's catch up for a coffee.
Yeah, that's really interesting advice because it's tough. It's actually breaking that down and actually having the courage to do it. What are some attributes you personally look for in people if you were to say hire someone or mentor someone? What are those key attributes? Because how many times do you only want to help those who want to help themselves? No doubt. So what do you look for?
I think I look for a bit of that in someone. I look for someone that wants to be where they want to be. I've never mentored some of the mentoring programs I do with students. We've never mentored students who don't want to be there. Part of that, if things have to change, you need to change as well. So it's people raising their hands or saying that I want to be part of that. I want to accept someone supporting me, mentoring me. Similar, if the question sort of diverges into what do I look for in that sense when you're trying to hire someone, it's whilst academic is important, it comes down to a couple of key things, which is about people's attitudes, their behavioural fit. We all have our values in life, and if you find someone who's got similar values, you probably find that you've got a connection with them or you enjoy being around them. So whether you're mentoring someone or whether you're hiring someone, try and find the right fits around whether it's your values, whether it's a cultural fit. Don't just always pinpoint it on the fact that, I have to hire someone for the sake of it or I have to mentor someone for the sake of it. You've got to be able to match on some level.
And no doubt, I think I would know the answer to this, but you personally, you would no doubt get a lot out of that yourself. And do you learn from them as well?
Mate, I did a long mentoring program earlier this year. It went over 2 terms. We mentored Year 9 high school kids, boys from disadvantaged high school. And every week when I left that high school, I actually felt a lot better about myself. But knowing that, I learned important things about myself as well. None of us are perfect. And I learned skills that actually I can still transfer back into my day-to-day job with mature adults or high business people, whether it be the simplest thing that when you're mentoring younger kids who don't have the life experience or the work experience we have, they see things differently. And that's always an important reminder, is that when you're talking to someone or meeting someone, you've got to remember to try to see things from their perspective, from their viewpoint. But you just, that's one thing, but the other thing is you do leave feeling like you've actually made an impact on someone's life. And it's just, it feels really rewarding to be able to give back to someone, and you might think you're not, but you really are changing someone's life. And by being able to do that just by sparing an hour or two of your week, it's just huge. And I know a lot of people out there would think, oh, let's just throw some money at the problem, or let's just donate to a cause. But when you give someone your time and you focus on them for a couple of hours, I think that's worth more than anything.
I really agree with that point, because it's wholehearted that you and them, and you're there to achieve something. And I value what you're doing out there, because that's sort of why we set up this, right? We wanted to inspire and mentor a lot of people who may not have the opportunity, that certainly I had, growing up. And I think there's so much you can give to a lot of people. And the other thing is, they're giving just as much to you. And we've had some difficult stuff, over the years. Mm-hmm. And at the time, you think it's painful, but you actually learn a hell of a lot even from yourself, because you learn how to new challenges, right? Because it could be going through their own personal situation, but you don't know about it, and they're becoming very, very difficult. Yeah. So for me personally, and by the sounds of it yourself, you're still learning off that, like, how do I overcome that problem myself? So even though you're teaching a student who's in year 9, they're still teaching you, just as much, even though they think it's a one-way street.
And you're right, mate, you never know what people are going through themselves. Someone might rock up to school that morning and look really happy and positive, but they might be going through a world of pain at home, or other things going on. So it is really important to remember, when you do mentoring or when you go to work, you're surrounded by other people, and they've got their own challenges in life, and even if they don't show that, just be mindful that it might be happening.
So your mentoring obviously is a huge component of what you do. Is there any case studies or any examples you could give where you've seen shifts from day one to, as you said, that second term?
Yeah, look, it's with the school example, at the start, the kids are always a bit all over the place. There's a lot of energy, there's a lot of excitement, there's probably not much respect. Foreign people coming into their lives, but it's amazing in such a short time, just by spending time with these kids, the respect that they start to give you back. And you do see it, just in a short period of time, with 2 terms of school. It's not a big period of time, it's not long, but the difference from the start to the end, you see these boys grow, over the space of almost 20 weeks. And at the start, some of them don't want to talk to you, don't want to open up, they don't want to present to a small group. And at the end, you just can't get them to stop. They're excited, they've got confidence, they feel proud walking into a room. And it's not just us that have noticed that, their teachers also notice some of the difference in their lives. And when you ask them some questions as well, even at home, they start to see some of the difference. And it goes back to, mate, it's just amazing when you sort of give someone some time and show them that you genuinely care, what it means for them and how it changes their lives. But through students, mate, I see them, they walk in day one, their shoulders are rolled in, their heads are down. A couple of weeks in, they're walking in, they're happy, they've got smiles on their faces, they want to be there. The amazing part is, one of the kids I mentored is, he'd start to replay to me as we were mentoring some of the stuff we spoke about, and some of the frameworks that you could use around difficult situations, and how you manage through difficult points in your life. I could see that starting to help him, and that's a really amazing thing once you start to see that. But also start to see that he started to change the types of people you hang around with.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and that's sort of, it's advice that you don't get until you speak to someone who's a lot older. And in the workforce, mate, I've sort of mentored graduates in the workforce as well, and I've seen them make really sort of brave and bold decisions that they wouldn't have made around, do I leave my job? Do I leave a good paying job? Do I leave a secure job to take something that's a bit more risky, a bit more uncertain? And mentoring sometimes helps build people's confidence. And mentoring, in most parts, is probably just a sounding board. And it just gives that person an opportunity to say what they're thinking. And for us as mentors, we just replay that. And when a mentee hears what you've just told them, but coming back from someone else, they actually think, am I really saying that? Like, is the problem really that big, as big as it is in my head? So it just gives them an opportunity to externalize what they're thinking, and then it gives them an opportunity for us to replay. And I do see a lot of difference once I've given someone that opportunity just to sit there, have a chat, and they hear back what they've said, and they go away and they make great decisions. And you're never going to make the right decision all the time. But I guess I always tell my mentees, all you can do is make an informed decision with whatever information you have at the time. And at that time you made that decision, it was the right decision to make. Any decision can be wrong a day after, or a day earlier. But at that point in time, is it the right thing to do or the right decision to make? If your answer is yes, then that's the decision you make.
Sometimes all they do need is just a little nudge to see their true worth. How many times have you got mentored someone and all they really needed was, as you said, you just replayed what they've just said, and because it's not coming from them, because they're obviously down on confidence or whatever it may be, you've replayed the same thing and they're like, oh, hey, what's this?
I mean, Shane, the things appear bigger in your head than they are in real life.
Yeah, and I would say just break it down, write it down, and just pick it up one at a time, because it becomes actually quite simple. It's not that bad. I mean, I've woken up, at 3 a.m. thinking the world's caving in, and I seriously write stuff down, and it's actually not that bad. I'll go to sleep now. I can actually tick that off in about an hour. And sometimes you create this castle in your head when it's when it's actually nothing.
You touch on something that's really important. Write stuff down. Get it out of your head, because when it's in your head, it doesn't really exist. It's just a thought, and it just grows and grows and grows because you let it grow. Once you write it down, you can look at it and think, okay, that's not that big of a problem. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes it might be a big problem, but at least once it's on the paper, on the page, you can start to sort of think, okay, how can I solve that? How can I break it down? For me, if I attach it to a work perspective, if you're doing a project that's going to take 12 months, you can't do it in a day. So the advice I've always got was that analogy of how do you eat an elephant? It's one chunk at a time.
So true, though.
So break things down into bite-sized chunks.
And I mean, when you say that to people, sometimes they go, oh, easier said than done, but sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it actually is that simple. We overcomplicate it, we do a damn good job of that. And there's so much out there. You look at social media and you look at some lives and you think they're all grand, but they're not. They're only giving you like a 10, 15 second snippet what they want to show. So
again, a great point, mate. Social media. No one's going to post on social media how shit their life is, or how much they hate in their day. I mean, some people do, don't get me wrong, but 80-90% of it is people posting the good stuff, and we all know that life is not always that good. With the highs come the lows, and the lows come the highs. So don't be influenced too much by what you see on social media, because 9 times out of 10 it's probably not real, and the 9 times out of 10 they're probably being paid to post those stories or post those images.
Last couple of things, mate. Just is there a particular project that you were personally, most proud of, that you thought as a young bloke that you would never be achieving what you're achieving?
There's a couple. 2 of them are still happening, so I can't really talk about them. But one.
Don't have to give specifics, mate.
I'll probably get sued.
Is there anything that
I've been very fortunate in my career. I've been fortunate with the opportunities I've had, and most recently, a new A-League team was introduced to the southwest region of Sydney, the Macarthur FC Bulls, and I've been very fortunate to be able to be working with them closely, developing some of their internal processes, getting some stuff ready up for when their teams start to train, sort of the facility size, so building a centre of excellence, getting some of their pitches ready. also been involved in some of their sponsorship arrangements and finding key sponsors. So, as a young kid, mate, growing up, I never would have dreamed to be able to work with an A-League team who's coming through the ranks. And it's one of those things is that even some people or some kids out there might think, oh, okay, it's nothing special, but I'd ask our listeners out there, how many times do you hear of a new team being introduced to a competition, whether it be the AFL, the NRL, the A-League? So these opportunities don't come up, and when it did come up,
Grabbed it.
Well, no, I grabbed it and ran with it.
Yeah,
Because whilst a lot of the work I do for them is probably not, it's not the $1 million stuff work, but it's amazing work. It's an opportunity to be part of something that might not happen again for another 10, 15 years.
It's the stuff that you can tell your grandkids.
It's
that you help set up. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's always in life, look for what you can do that becomes unique or gives you a unique selling point. So there's not many people that would go on to say that I had an opportunity to work with an A-League team that was forming from day one.
Yeah. What would be the one piece of advice that you could give a lot of listeners about, what is the key tips to succeed in your opinion?
It's hard to give just one tip.
I'm going to give you one.
I think just have a good attitude. If it comes down to one, it comes down to attitude. If it's more than one, you've got to be positive. And you've got to understand that if you face a brick wall, you either go through it or over it. So don't always be limited by what's in front of you, because on the other side of that could be something a lot greater. You just got to work out how to get over to the other side.
I love that, because sometimes it's not always getting around it.
No.
Sometimes you actually have to go through it.
Exactly.
So is there, if you look back, if you said one thing to your younger self, like how proud of you, what you've been able to achieve, did you think you could achieve what you've achieved, if you look back and spoke to yourself when you're about, 14 years old?
Not in a million years. I'm, like I said, I've been very fortunate. I work with large local government councils. I do work with large private sector clients as well. And, I'm sort of flying around solo with just a small group of people around me. At 14 years old, I was just thinking, how do I get out of school and how do I get a job that pays me some money?
Yeah, mate, I have no doubt that a lot of people listening to this will get a lot from what you said, particularly, young people who, aren't even speaking the languages you just said. And that's why we wanted to speak to you, because you've overcome, a lot from not speaking English all the way to, as I said, advising new A-League teams and federal government. But mate, thank you for joining us. You've provided good insight, and I hope that a lot of people, and as you said, just one, takes some piece of advice and it makes them better than what they are today. That's success, and that's what we're here for. But thanks for everyone for listening, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube and also our site, purplecarrot.com, and also follow us on Spotify, iTunes and Instagram at purple_carrot, and also follow us on Facebook as well. And thank you once again.